Breaking news here to CBS Sports HQ, Fantasy Football Today. We have a report on Christian McCaffrey. So according to NFL Network, McCaffrey is expected to miss a few weeks after injuring his hamstring on Thursday night in the Panthers' victory over the Texans. So right now, according to Ian Rappaport, injured reserve is not in the plan. So they probably expect him to be back within a 3-week window. So that's a good sign. But clearly a bad sign that it's going to be weeks as opposed to weeks. So, Dave, when you're looking at Chuba Hubbard, who stepped up in place of Christian McCaffrey and did a nice job, not a great job, but 11 carries for 52 yards, 3 catches for 27 yards. He's not McCaffrey. He might not even be Mike Davis. But he's going to be somebody that fills that role to whatever capacity and enough that fantasy managers can gravitate toward him.
Absolutely, and you can certainly count on him to be a potential top 24 fantasy running back as soon as Week 4 when the Panthers play at Dallas. And we'll get an idea of what this Eagles run defense looks like without Brandon Graham this week. That's who they play in Week 5. Hopefully by then, Week 6 against Minnesota, Christian McCaffrey is back in action. Bye weeks kick in that week. You'd love to have Christian McCaffrey there. If you're going to fight for the top waiver claim in your league this week, you're going to do it to get Chuba Hubbard. And if you've got a lot of fab to spend, go into your league, see what Elijah Mitchell went for, and expect to spend maybe half that on Chuba Hubbard now that we know that it's not a season-ending injury for Christian McCaffrey.
All right, so Adam, pick up there. So you're a Christian McCaffrey fantasy manager, or you just need to find a running back because you went 0 RB, dealing with other injuries. You still have, let's say, $80 of $100 left of your fab budget. How much of that are you spending on Chuba Hubbard?
About 40, I would say, and I probably won't get him. If I'm desperate, if I'm 0-3 or 1-2, don't really like my teams, I might boost it up to 50 or 55. I don't like the idea of having no fab. I don't believe there are really any examples of, oh, spend all your fab. I think that's a pretty terrible idea to get through a full season without any fab to spend. There are going to be players that come up every single week that could help you, or most weeks, and not this past week. It was a terrible week for waivers. But for the most part, you want to have some fab to spend. And if I'm getting 2 games out of Chuba Hubbard, I don't want to spend 40 to 50% of my original budget necessarily. But I do think he could be good. And listen, McCaffrey was supposed to come back many times last year, and it basically never happened. Okay, he played 1 game after getting hurt in Week 2. He had a variety of injuries, but I can't just take their word that it's not going to be more than 2 weeks or 3 weeks or more. We just don't know. These injuries can get worse. They could have a setback. So I think you have to get Hubbard. I don't care what your running back situation is. I've got 10 fantasy teams, and I can't think of one team where I wouldn't want to get Chuba Hubbard. But I'm going to be cautious because I don't know how good he is. He did almost all of his production in the fourth quarter in a defense that could have been tired, on the field a lot, on a Thursday, on a short week. So, he might be just average, but I do think you have to get him. Don't spend more than 50% of your original fab budget.
I guess, just to piggyback on your point of him not coming back. And again, the report is no IR as of now. They may get another day or two into the evaluation of his injury and say, okay, he probably is better to be placed on IR. We might have to add a player, so we have to get rid of, make a transaction to help their team, especially with their backfield. So also don't rule out Royce Freeman in deeper leagues. He might be somebody you want to spend a secondary fab waiver spot on, or secondary waiver run, secondary fab bid on, just in case, he gets some additional work, because it wasn't until the fourth quarter when the game was in hand when we started to see Chuba Hubbard do some nice things. They did give Royce Freeman a couple of goal line opportunities, so he's going to clearly get some touches. It might not just be like we saw last year where it was all McCaffrey, all Davis, and then remember, I guess I shouldn't say that, because as he started to struggle, they started to use Curtis Samuel a little bit more as a running back there. So Freeman's somebody to keep in mind as well. But again, the news as of now, according to the NFL Network, Christian McCaffrey expected to miss multiple weeks but not be placed on IR after injuring his hamstring on Thursday night.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.